Hello everybody, my name is Ian and this is Louisa Rose. We are Sinners Music Podcast. And the reason I keep hesitating is because it was the Sinners Review podcast. How's your week been?
For me, fairly quiet actually compared to usual. Not a lot going on, just I suppose the monotony of work and life. How unexciting, eh? I don't know. How about you?
I've been to that there, London.
Ah.
So went to London on Tuesday and went to the Tate Modern to see the Tracy Emin exhibition. Now I quite like the Tate Modern, if I'm honest, but I do think there's been a sort of bit of a change, and that's before I get to the actual exhibition. And I'm not a fan of Tracy Emin, it's worth saying. Everything was like really expensive there. Like, you used to be able to pay £2 or £3 and leave your coat in a cloakroom. Now it's £6 minimum for a small locker that you can't get a backpack in.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's I think £6 to £10 for a locker. So we didn't do that. I just carried my backpack around the whole time. And it just, I mean, like £8.50 for a scone seemed a bit pricey. So it's almost like their prices have gone up. I mean, I know that the place itself is free apart from the exhibitions. There was 2 exhibitions on. Like I say, we went to the Tracy Emin. The Tracy Emin was £35 for a ticket.
Okay.
We didn't pay that because we are Artful members and we got in for
members.
a tenner each, which was fine. I don't really rate her as an artist, but I've come away with a much better perspective on what she's like as an artist. I don't like her painting. It's not for me. The embroidery work that she does, I thought was absolutely stunning. And there was a couple of films. She's still very hung up about on the abortions that she's had. Which it's, well, I mean, it's a woman's choice, isn't it? But I think she comes across as though she's still very hung up by the fact that she made those decisions. You know.
Yeah.
One of them, she said that had she had the baby, she wouldn't have been able to take care of it at that point in life. She was 24, I think, and a starving artist. You know. So it's certainly an interesting exhibition. It wouldn't have been my choice. It was Aidine's choice, who we went with, and little Ellis. So it was quite a nice day, really, though. You know. So, but yeah, so the Tate Modern's gone up in price. Exhibition, it's definitely worth seeing, I think. And I think, talking to my eldest son, Tracy Emin is sort of back in favour, I think, which is interesting. I've spent most of the time preparing for this weekend, which is the Synth Southwest. So I've been practicing a lot.
Yes.
And every time I practice, it's been different. But that's part of what I was expecting to do anyway. And I've just got heads up that Sinners Music are taking over all of the albums that Ramsey, my Australian friends, put out. So we've got to get them sorted out before the 6th of April. So he's moved away.
Much time.
No, and I mean, there's about 4 albums, which I thought was more, but it's not a lot of time. I don't know whether we can do it in that time because it's down to the distributor. We'll try. I can do my bit, but it's whether it actually happens. The reason it's the 6th is because his subscription with the current distributor expires at that point, and he wants to move it over to us, which is very, very nice of him, really. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing much else happened, really. It's been an interesting week, but you know, the day in London was good. And actually, the day in London, because we didn't go on the train, we went on the bus.
Yes.
The bus is great, £25. Leaves really stupidly early, like 8:05 from Sainsbury's in Frome. But you're in there by 11:30, and then you come back at 7:15 on the night, and you get back about 9:30. So it's a if you want to go for the day for 25 quid return, it's really
worth it, isn't it?
It's absolutely worth it because it would cost 100 quid on the train. And you're not guaranteed to get in that much earlier because the times I've used the train to London, it's you usually have to change trains at some point. So you've always got that gap in between. Usually at Westbury for us, and then or Salisbury's the other one. You end up in Salisbury and having to change trains, or you're waiting for a train to come and join onto your train is the usual sort of thing that happens in Salisbury. But yeah, no, it's a reasonable week. Nothing too exciting. Quite nervous about the weekend, but hey ho.
But I guess part of it, you have prepared,
I have.
and part of it is improvised anyway, isn't it, on the day? So
I've packed it away now, but I have a list of things, and I do them in that order, but I might not do all of them. So I've purposefully picked things, and I've tried different things when I've been practicing. There's a piece I'm doing about Gaza, which might be quite political and quite controversial, because I've used some samples of speech. It's AI speech, but it's taken from an article. So that might be quite controversial. I mean, I'm happy to share after the event. We probably we'll talk on a future one about how I created it and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes down, really, and see whether we actually sell anything in our little stall that we've got.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've got a banner thing, Sinners Music banner, which is going to be. I almost contacted you about the mic stand because I thought, have I got two mic stands? I need two mic stands for either side. Luckily, I found one in the garage that I could use, because I was going to say I'm going to have to get. Can I have the straight mic stand back for a bit so I can, But anyway, I don't need it. So, have you got any news? I've got a little bit, but nothing much.
No.
Right.
I sound like the most boring person today, but honestly, just, I guess, average working week in life for me. Nothing at all.
I mean, we did have the Oscars, didn't we? Which I purposefully didn't watch, although I do know that the film The Sinners, which I haven't seen, did okay. Or for Michael B. Jordan, I think it is the actor. Yes.
I actually caught that bit. I didn't watch all of it, but I switched it on later on, and I caught that bit where he won that award. And I
mean, I listened to the rest of his entertainment, and they were criticising some of the awards speeches, the acceptance speeches. I have to say, and like I said to you before, last time, I'm not hugely fond of award ceremonies anyway, and the Oscars always seems to pick the wrong films, really. When I've watched Oscar-winning films, like, what was the one last year? Was it? I can't remember what it's called now. But anyway, Jen and I watched it and thought, really, is this an award-winning film? Anyway, so but that's other opinions are available. So I did have a quick look at, who won what, really. I'm glad. I haven't seen Hamnet. Jane has. She said that Jessie Buckley was amazing in it. And have you seen Wild Rose?
No.
You need to see Wild Rose. That's one of her early films. She's playing this northern country and western singer.
Oh.
And she's got a great voice anyway, because she's put a couple of albums out. But yeah, you need to see it. It might be on one of the streaming platforms. Definitely, Wild Rose is great, actually. About this young woman, she's poor, but she's holding down a couple of jobs, and she's singing in this bar, and it's really good film. Very, very northern, in the right sort of way, really. The only other things I've got is I stumbled across an advert on Instagram for something called the Chalk Pit Cassette Club, and I thought, what's the Chalk Pit Cassette Club? So this is a company that's been going since 2001, and they make cassettes to then you join the club and you get a little sort of A5 magazine. Yeah, A5 magazine. And you get a cassette once a month with a load of up-and-coming music on it. And I wanted to ask your opinion about, what do you think about a cassette club?
I mean, I feel like I've gone to sleep and woken up and it's 1990, you know?
Well, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I don't know. I know that they actually put some albums out for some artists. And they have picked, because I had a quick look at their website, they have picked a few up-and-coming artists that I know about. So there's a girl out of Halifax called Ellur, who I went to see in Bristol back in the last year, and bought her first album's about to come out. She's been featured. I think she's great, but I've been championing her for about at least 2 years. So other people who have watched this probably from earlier versions have heard me recommend Ellur. I was calling her Ellur for a long time because it's Ellur. But no, her name is Ellur. She's Ellur McNamara. She's the daughter of the lead singer out of Embrace. So you could argue that she's a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
But she's incredibly talented, good voice, good songwriter. And she did write, she wrote a song with, do you know Benjamin Francis Leftwich? York artist.
No.
He's sort of quite folky. I knew his mum. So he's exactly the same age as Matt. I mean, literally, we have a photograph of Matt at 3 months old, sat next to Ben, or Benji as he was known at the time. So he's carved himself a career. His music is not to my taste really, but I've seen him play a couple of times. He's very good if that's what you like. He's got a great voice. But yeah, she's written a song with him. That was her last single, I think, or the single before. The other one is they've had the Howl the Hum, Sam Griffiths, who you may know of. Have you heard of the Howl the Hum, York band?
No.
You see, you've been out of York too long.
I've been out of York far too long.
Yeah,
I don't know the music scene in York.
Yeah. So the Howl the Hum. I think it mainly. I mean, I've seen Sam Griffiths play probably 10, 12 years ago. Again, him on his own, singer-songwriter type, great voice, put together a band. They got signed. I can't remember which label they were signed to, and then they're literally about to put their first album out, which was really, really good. I played it on the Audiophile Radio Show back in, before it came out, and literally about a week before it was due to be released, and they were about to go on tour, COVID hit. So it absolutely killed So consequently, I think they lost the major deal, and they're sort of doing a distribution deal with Artists Without Labels. But certainly his stuff is worth a listen to. So I think it's pretty much just Sam with musicians that he picks now. So it's very much his band, and he's a songwriter. But the Howl the Hum, definitely worth a look. They were featured in the Chalk Pit Cassette Club, which I have to say I think is a completely bonkers idea. I mean, I know that it's just, who has a cassette player anymore apart from people like me? I have a cassette player, but I don't play cassettes.
Yeah. I was literally having this conversation the other day at work because my boss is actually sort of an avid record collector, and I don't even know how we'd got onto the subject in a meeting, but he suddenly announced to everybody that actually cassettes are coming back, and I was like, no, that can't be true. But yeah, you've just confirmed it. So
I mean, I think it'll always be niche, if I'm honest. I mean, you could argue that vinyl and Sinners Music are now a company that does CDs, so CDs are niche.
Yeah.
Now, so sorry, I've got water everywhere because me Diet Coke. It's not Diet Coke. It's Gaza. Me Gaza Coke is leaking at the bottom. It's more information than you need. Yeah. So cassette. So yes, I mean, I wish the Chalk Pit Cassette Club well. They're based in the Isle of Wight. I don't know how many they actually make each month, but there's quite a lot of work must go into it because they're, you know, and I think it's £6 a month, so it's not expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. If it was CDs, I might have been interested because I do play CDs and I play vinyl. So, but I'm not, and I have, like I say, I've got cassette players. It's actually in the loft. It's there for when I need it. And the last couple of albums that I bought, I played on my friend Ryan Sherlow's solo album, and rather than get him to give me one, I bought it, and it was done through a small cassette record label in Doncaster, I think. Now, it was through Bandcamp, so I've got the Bandcamp, I've got the digital version. The cassette, I haven't even opened. It's completely sealed. And I'll probably know, and actually Ryan did say to me, he said, I won't bother trying to play it. It don't play very well. so I don't know whether that sort of things. Anyway, but yeah, cassettes are back. So who knows? We may be doing cassettes. So our next single might be on a cassette. If you fancy it.
I mean, I'm saying nothing.
You've got to embrace new technologies from the 1980s.
No. Just think of all of the plastic waste that's going to end up in landfill when the people get sick of it again.
I mean, I have to say, you know, having worked in hi-fi shops in previous lives and knowing about how different technologies work, listening to cassettes, and although you could when I worked in a hi-fi shop in the 80s, you could spend thousands of pounds on a particular type of cassette deck. The best cassette deck in the world at the time was something called a Nakamichi cassette deck, and it would take any tape, but you'd put metal tapes in it, so you put high quality cassettes in, and you could get pretty close to your vinyl record. You know, so the capability of cassettes was sort of there to a point, but you'd probably have to spend even more money to get anything close to that. But generally, cassettes were pretty poor. The more you play it, it starts to stretch, and all of that. And I got rid of all of my cassettes. I had hundreds and hundreds of cassettes. The cassettes I still have are cassettes that I recorded at rehearsals and things like that. Now, at some point, I should probably digitise them because they may not even play now. They're literally sat. Well, they're sat in the garage as we speak, and they were sat in the garage in York as well. So, but yeah. So anyway, enough of cassette chat. Cassettes are back. The only other bit of news I've got, and I only found this out today. Have you heard of a band called the Wildhearts from Newcastle?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Good. That sounded really patronising. I'm sorry about that. So what do you know about the Wildhearts? Band of the 90s. Band of the 90s. Mm-hmm. Lead singer was Ginger. I sort of grew up with them to some extent. I had in the late 80s, I employed a guy called Dan, who is now a musician, and that's how he makes his living, doing sort of country folky stuff. And Dan's a great guy. You probably meet him. He's a Yorkie, obviously. You'll probably meet him at some point if we're in York at any time in the future. And he said, and he would bring me CDs, or he would make me a tape, a cassette, back to cassettes again, of bands that he really liked. So he said, "Oh, you like these?" So he brought me the Wildhearts, and he was right. I mean, they're not synths. There's no keyboard. There's no keyboards. It's all guitar music. It's sort of power pop, but quite heavy at times, you know. But phenomenally good songwriters, well executed, really. So I've been a massive fan from pretty much early on, and I've got most of the early albums. In fact, I've got the first 5 or 6 albums by the Wildhearts. my eldest son sent me a message, and we used to do things in the car when the boys were quite small. We would play the Wildhearts, but the lyrics with the swear words in, I would sort of try and talk over. So, and then I think Matt said to me, we do know the words, Dad, it's all right, So, yeah. But they mean a lot to me, and they obviously mean a lot to the boys as well, both Matt and Josh. Matt sent me a message today. He said, do you know that Ginger from the Wildhearts has got terminal cancer?
Oh.
And I went, oh, no. So we had a brief chat over WhatsApp, and I just said, we should, if they're touring, we should go and see him, really. And they are touring. They're doing 4 dates over Easter. Amazingly, I think it's the 5th of April, they're at Trowbridge.
Oh.
At the Town Hall?
At the Civic?
Town Hall, it said. Is that right? Is it the same
okay.
place? I don't know it, but...
No.
Is it not?
No.
Well, annoyingly, I'm in London, so we can't go there. And then the next night, they're in Walthamstow. They're playing in Walthamstow, which is where the boys live. Of course, being London, it's completely sold out. So we again, the chat between the three of us was, we have to go see him if we can. So I'm on the waiting list for 3 tickets. If we can get to see, it may be Ginger. I mean, he has said that he doesn't want treatment. It's terminal. He wants to say goodbye. I think he said over the next couple of years, so it might take a while. And he's going to perform while he still can. So all being well, I'm going to hopefully, and if he does another tour later on, we'll go somewhere else. But yeah, so poor old Ginger. So we all felt a bit sad about the fact that and he's 61, so he's not old in that sense.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I don't think that's it for news from me. So right, okay. So main topic. We didn't really have a proper topic, did we? But you suggested.
Well, you picked one.
I did pick one. I mean, your idea for a topic, which was charity singles, we definitely need to cover. I think we should cover it when there's a charity single about to come out. There might be one for when's Red Nose Day?
Oh,
is there a charity? Sure. It's coming up because people are doing runs and walks and cycling and things. So there might, if there's one for then, maybe we'll cover it then. But we definitely need to cover it nearer the time of a charity single, I think. So I picked. As we've said before, we'll cover some of the Sinners Music artists, and because it's my record label, I picked me.
Obviously.
I picked this. I mean, so I picked this. It's called. Did you listen to it, by the way?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Good. So it's Deconstruction, Demolition, and Re-invention is the album. It was my first proper album, but my second release. So the first release I did was 2011. I did an album called Aleatorical Alchemy, which was just a collection of 4 pieces that I'd created. I was doing a master's in music technology at the time at York Uni, and that first album was there were pieces that I submitted as assignments that I then put together on an album, whereas Deconstruction was my final assessment piece, and the plan was to do it as a complete album. So we'll play bits of it, but so it was recorded between March and September 2011. I released it first on CD. Here's one of them. On when did I release it? March, April 2012. So it's been out for a while, and then it was put on Bandcamp on 2014, and it got a full proper streaming release 2018. It was not promoted. It hasn't sold well. It's ambient. Well, you tell me what you think it sounds like. You can be honest. It's not to everybody's taste.
It's not to my taste, and I would say partly because I am a self-diagnosed. I've self-diagnosed myself. That's not a very good sentence. With misophonia, so I really struggle with certain noises at certain frequencies. So I would say there were aspects of this that I found slightly overwhelming, especially the sort of the whispered speech. I found that quite difficult to listen to, but that is a thing that is personal to me because certain sounds clearly trigger certain feelings for me.
Right.
But that's not to say that there isn't sort of that bit. The album that you've got has its niche, and there are obviously people out there who enjoy that kind of music. And I think if I didn't have the misophonia, maybe I would feel differently about it.
There must be at least there's 2 tracks I think come to mind, but we'll get to them. So let me give you the original idea, and I like a concept. So it was meant to be a concept album, and the original idea was that to have a piece of music, I wanted to use an instrument that would be not used in a traditional way. So I purposefully picked an accordion. So all of the music on it, with the exception of the one piano piece, is music that's created from accordion, or there's some vocals, and there is some field recordings, which the first track starts as a field recording. We'll play a bit of the field recording, that first track, but it's probably better that I explain what was the idea. So the original idea, which was abandoned, was the idea that you listen to music from outside, and then there's some scraping on that first track. This is Summer's Day, so the scraping is trying to break through the wall to get to the music, right? So that was the original concept. Like I say, I abandoned that fairly early on, but that first track, which is 2.5 minutes, it's recorded in one take. There are a couple of overdubs, which are the tiles sliding off a roof. But fundamentally, I set up a recorder so I recorded some accordion music, which is the bit you hear through. Stuck it in our very dilapidated wooden garden shed, which is complete. There's a picture of it on the inside cover. I can't show you; it's probably too small. But it's completely covered. I don't know whether you can see that. It's completely covered in greenery. Right? It was useless. So I set it all up in there. Run some cables from the house because there's no power in it, and then played the music through there on the closed door, and then started walking with a recorder from the back of our garden to the front, and started scraping. And the idea being that then at some point there was a sample of me smashing something, so you broke through the wall. That it never got used. Did that really? So, but that was the idea. So, and I think I recorded it 4 times. So 4 times did I walk from the back of the garden all the way. And I think the 3rd time the plane went over. So it's all absolutely as it happened. And I thought when the plane went over, that was really that was perfect, really. So shall I play a bit of it? Are you okay with that track?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so for me, it was what sounded like speech that was sort of a whispered speech. I was
right.
Like,
That's on track 2. We won't play that. Anybody can go and listen. We'll explain.
I don't want to put people off.
No. But I will talk. I will explain what she's saying. You listened to it on Spotify, didn't you?
Yes.
It's meant to be. There are tracks, but my idea was always that the tracks would run into each other, and so it was always meant to be like one track, it's just under 50 minutes, 50-minute track. I mean, on the album on streaming, there's a second 25-minute piece which has got nothing to do with it. That was a journey in New York on a New York
figured
subway.
That was your B-side.
Well, it is a B-side, but it's got nothing to do with this. So it had nothing to do with Deconstruction. And the idea being that the Deconstruction, then Demolition, then your Re-invention. So you take something, you basically break it down, and then you reinvent it and turn it into something else, which is exactly pretty much what I intended to do.
Yeah.
How did you get on with Bellows, the one that's actually inside?
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay, that's fine. Right. Let me share my screen and then we can have a...
Are you going to play that one?
No, I'll play the ones that you want me to play. I won't play that one if you don't want me to.
Most of it was absolutely fine. I'd say it was the speech that...
We'll stay away from Alison. Alison's got a nickname. Her nickname's Wonky. So Wonky Willis. So hi Alison, if you ever see this. She was an English lecturer, but we'll get onto that bit. So here we are. It starts very quietly because obviously it's just the sounds in my garden that particular summer's day, really.
Yeah. So
you've just got the birds. And you can actually hear my footsteps. We haven't got a massive garden, but I'm walking down the side of the garage towards the shed.
It's nice having listened to it and not being sure, obviously not knowing too much about it. It's nice to know that that's a real sound and not a created sound, that's a genuine
So all
sound
of this is exactly one take, and it's just on a little stereo mic. It's a twin stereo mic, so you've got two mics on me walking and two mics in front of me. The plane started to come over.
The plane, yeah. And now that we're talking about it, I understand it more. I think it was quite difficult to understand without having this conversation first.
Yeah, and I should have written some notes. I mean, I did write some notes, but all it says is, it's just a field recording blended with processed accordion samples, which doesn't really say very much, does it really? There is a whole 7,000 pages, which I would be quite happy to share with you, but it's just a report on the whole process, and it's very academic. But it does go into quite a lot of detail of how it was recorded. There's me scraping down the side of the shed. But still, at this point, still thinking the idea is that to break into the building and then now that's a note. The tile sliding is an overdub. So what happened there was that we were having some building work. We were having an extension built on the back, and they'd taken there was some tiles lying around and a load of debris, and I just slid them down the little where our kitchen, back at the extension of our kitchen was. So there you go, there's another one. I won't play the next track because the next track is... I'll stop it there because you can get the idea. So yeah, the second track, which is the one with the speech, which is Deconstruction. I'd got Alison, who, like I said, she's an English teacher. She worked at York College. I don't know whether she still does. Now I was subcontracted from the university to work there to teach a course one day a week. So Alison was teaching these students English type stuff, and I was doing other stuff with them, really. And we got to know each other, and I knew that she could speak Middle English. So what she's doing is speaking Middle English. Now, without actually listening to it, I'm not going to play it. I can't remember what. I think she's speaking Middle English backwards.
Okay.
Now, because on that first album there is a track called Chaucer's Lament, based around melodies that would have been around when Chaucer was alive. And I got Alison to come into the studio in the studios in the music department in York one evening, and she did. I probably still got the original recording somewhere, but for most of it, she just spoke it as though she was speaking a normal voice. And then I said, just as an off the cuff thing, I said, try whispering it. And when she whispered it, it was like, that's it, that's perfect. And I can't remember what she said now, but so she's speaking Middle English, she's speaking Chaucer, and he's speaking it backwards for that track. So yeah, what I've written here about Deconstruction is the composition that is completely made out of one accordion sample and voices. So again, it's all, but we won't play that. The third track, The Parting of Such Sweet Sorrow, I don't think I played it very well. Again, it's one take, with some processing. The piano is one take, and it sounds like it's quite a simple melody, but the chord change quite a lot, but it's not meant to sound like that. And it was dedicated to my dad, who died when I was 18, and while this was going on, my stepfather was dying of cancer. So and Eric had died. So this was recorded over that summer, and he died. We hoped he was going to live till Christmas, didn't make it. He died in the early November in the hospice, St Leonard's Hospice. So we were going through all that, and in fact I would go and sit with Eric, and I'd do some, because a lot of the time he was unconscious, he was on morphine and all the rest of it, but I would sit there and I would just do some work, and then he would wake up and we'd have a natter, and so I wanted a piece that was a for Eric, but also for my dad, who died when I was 18, and that's why it's called Parting Is Such Sweet Sorrow. But I still don't think I played it very well. It's sort of okay, is the piano part.
But I guess only you know what it was meant to sound like. Do you know what I'm
well, in my head,
to it, I didn't listen to it and think, well, that doesn't sound very good. Because I don't know what it was maybe supposed to sound like instead. It just sounds like it sounds.
There are mistakes in there, and it's probably one of those things. They're not massive mistakes, but there's the odd note which isn't quite right. And when I played it to my supervisor, it's a guy called Ambrose, he went, it sounds great. So I'm thinking, well, if Ambrose thinks it's okay, then the bits that I think aren't quite right, or I'll leave them. Really.
Yeah, but I think it is all quite subjective, and also those mistakes that you're saying you've made, somebody else listening to it, if they did pick up on a mistake, which I very much doubt they would, they might have thought it was intentional. So
I think at the time I thought I would leave them in as though they were intentional mistakes, although there were mistakes. But so yeah, I mean, I sort of get that, and I certainly. Nowadays I embrace the happy accident. So, and sometimes you come out with things that are so much better because you've made a mistake.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was pleased with the part, but I always felt that I maybe I should have re-recorded it and played it better. But I might not have been able to. I mean, I probably played it half a dozen times. And then pick the best. One thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to splice together the best bits of 2 or 3 takes.
Yeah.
So it's just one take with the sort of other effects around it are all created from the accordion, although they don't sound like it. They're heavily processed bits and pieces of stuff, really. next track, which is Bellows, which is what it's like to listen to a piano recording from inside the soundbox, and that's exactly what it is. So I stuck I had a really big old 1960s piano accordion that was electric as well. So it was called a Transivox. I sold it. It was really big and heavy. You couldn't hold it up. I had to have it on an accordion stand. There is some video. There's a bit of a video of me using it as a soundbox, which we might have a look at if I can find it. So what I did was I stuck a mic. There's little holes in it, so I stuck this really tiny little microphone inside it, and then just opened and closed it, and that sort of wheezing is what you hear. And then I built the track around using accordion samples, and then again processing them a lot with something called Max MSP, which is a software where you can create a synthesizer in Max MSP, and have done. I haven't done it for a while, but so I created some tools that I was able to use to make weird music, so, but that was what it was like, really. The next track, which is Holinshed's Three Sisters. Well, it's a reference to Shakespeare's witches in Macbeth, and only because when I finished it, I didn't have a name for it, and I thought, actually, and I'm not a massive Shakespeare fan, but I could just imagine the three witches around their cauldron listening to that piece of music. So we have a listen to that. Are you okay with that piece? Right.
Yeah.
That one, isn't it? So are you okay with the voices? Because that's got voices on it.
Is that one it?
That's Holland. Yeah, because the voices on that they're sort of processed with what's called a granular effect. So is that one okay or not?
You can play it. It's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. I think having an explanation of what the music is makes it easier to listen to.
Yeah. Because we didn't talk, because at the start of track 2, which is the there's a thunderstorm.
Yes.
And that was me. That was the thunderstorm. I recorded that in York, in our house, which was in Nid Grove at the time. And it literally just was early one evening, and this massive thunderstorm, and I just recorded the whole thing. And I think the rain part of it was added later. I don't think the rain part of it is actually part of the thunderstorm, if I remember rightly. So that's probably more of a composite. But I'd done later on. I did go and do 3 albums based around a thunderstorm in Bristol. So and I quite liked the idea of using the sound of rain and thunder as an instrument in their own right. So, and that's where I obviously got the idea from that. I originally thought it was going to go all the way through the whole, the whole of Deconstruction, but it doesn't really. Yeah, there's not. That's. I mean, it's. So we've still got the accordion going on in there. But like I say, the vocals it's probably Alison again, or it could be Katie. Can't quite remember. But actually, and then processed with this sort of that sort of granular effect that you hear, So that was side 1. If there is a side 1, there's a side 2, side 1 and side 2 on Bandcamp, but not anywhere else. And then we get to the Re-invention, which is a piece that is created completely from the C notes being played on an accordion and then again manipulated in Max MSP. So I can't remember. I haven't listened to this for ages. So let's have a listen to. Got it panned over to the left quite a bit. So the accordion has the buttons on an accordion. You've got single notes, then chords. So all I did was play all of the C buttons. So C note, C chord major, C minor, C augmented, and C diminished. So it's all based around that, and then massively processed with Max MSP. Because I'd built this sort of program which was like think of it like a little recording studio. But what you could do is you could have it doing things and manipulate. So you didn't know things when things would happen. So you didn't know when one particular note would come in and one would come out, but you could process, you could react with the actual program at the same time. I've still got it. I haven't used it for a long time, but and in theory it should still work. So what you do is you put the samples in, and I think I had 8 samples, something like that, and then they would trigger at different times, doing different things, saying different things. So, and that's exactly how the track ended up. Recorded it I did record it a few times. It wasn't like one take. It was built up over. I mean, I remember at one point just leaving it for about 30 minutes to let it just play by itself to see what it would sound like without me interacting with it, things like that. So, and then we've got, so that was Re-invention. Then we've got Demolition. No, we haven't. It's not Demolition. It's Demolition. Radio Transmissions from the Sea. This is a track where somebody had invented a program where you could put 2 samples together and get something completely different out of it. And I loved this. It was a free program that you could get on a Mac computer. I think I think you pay for it now. By a guy called Tom somebody, and he'd made these tools. So I messed around with it, and I probably had half a dozen different attempts using different samples, and then at one point we got, and the reason it's called Radio Transmissions from the Sea is I thought it sounded like it was coming from the sea, if I'm honest.
Okay.
It might be about there. I've also found my original notes. So the piece is based around 3 samples that were created using Tom Erb's ERBS sound hack program. And the tests were conducted on software as an exploration in blah, 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 somebody's mutilation function. You don't need to know about that. Where each function takes 2 sound files, source and target, and returns a third sound file, which obviously is something completely different, which is called a mutant. So there were probably quite long samples to get the length of them, because they don't sound like they're. Sometimes I've been known to, there's a program that you can take a song and stretch it so that it doesn't sound like the song anymore. Mm-hmm. Somebody did it with a Justin Bieber song, and actually everybody said it was so much better because it turned into this nice long ambient piece, because it loses. I mean, it's like stretching a 3-minute song to 2 hours or whatever. So I don't think I was doing that really, and in fact I would have had to write it down here. So yeah, the initial idea for the piece came from listening to Nurse with Wounds' Shipwrecked Radio Volume 2 CD, which one of the guys in Nurse with Wounds is a friend of mine, a guy called Colin Potter, who I used to live at Talk with, now lives in London. And this was, so we'd known each other from the 80s, and I think I'd sent some CDs down to Colin, and he'd sent me some CDs back, and one of them was this Nurse with Wound album that he'd done with this guy called Stephen Stapleton, and that was the sort of inspiration. I didn't want to recreate what they'd done, but that was my part of my thinking at the time, really. So so Nurse with Rooms, and there's an album to go listen to. Nurse with Rooms, it's really great, because they went to Iceland and they recorded all these sort of field recordings and bits for this local radio station. It's really quite an interesting album. It's sort of slightly weird. It's not commercial in that sense, but definitely worth a listen. And I do believe Colin, who runs IC Records, is still selling that album, so people can go and buy it. And then the last track is The Cottage, which I can't remember. I mean, I remember liking it, but I can't remember much about it, if I'm honest. And I haven't listened to it for a while. So, Cottage is designed to reprise the main accordion theme, used in Holinshed's Three Sisters, with different effects and processing. I've got a little chart here. I can show you. There's a little chart. Here we have a chart. I like it. I'm a guy who likes a chart. If I make that bigger, you can sort of see we've got bellow noises, scrapings, accordion melody, drones, and whoosh, and crescendo. And there's some rain. I think that must be good. That probably comes in at the end then. Enough of that. There was lots of things that didn't get used. It's obviously more interesting when you know a bit more about what was going on, really. So
would you say that, because I suppose listening to this for me
Yeah.
was almost like seeing a completely different side of you.
Right.
Because obviously a lot of what I've heard of the work is Katie and the Questions,
Yes, the pop stuff, yeah.
Band related stuff, whereas this is obviously something that is a lot more personal to you. So I mean, which of the two sort of genres of music is the one that you lean towards the most? Which do you prefer?
Both. I would always say, I've always considered myself, I quite like doing stuff like this. I mean, I have to say this, the stuff I've prepared for this weekend, the tools that I'm using are more electronic than this, because Although I always like, I mean, I'm using a sampled flute, I'm using, I might even use an oboe, I'm using a clarinet, and they're obviously accurate instruments. So I really like the idea of using almost traditional instruments, but I can't afford to pay somebody to play those. Mm-hmm. So, and I'd have to write the music rather than just improvise it. So I quite like the use of using electronics, but also using or recreating, shall we say, traditional instruments. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just as important for me to write pop songs. And I always saw it as doing both. I don't, there are times when I probably do more of this and less of the pop stuff or, rock stuff or whatever. But I think both are, to me as a musician, as a composer, are both as equally important, really. And I only really started doing more experimental music based around when I did the masters, because what became very apparent the first term was anything was accepted. No matter what you wanted to do was fine with those guys. So they opened that door. I mean, to some extent, the door had already been opened by Talk and those last 3 albums, which were pretty experimental. Mm-hmm. But for then to have an academic department saying it was okay to do literally anything I wanted was, for me, just this light bulb moment, really. Now I know that it hasn't sold well, but that was not why it was made. That's not why any of my music's made, really. I guess I'd like, Katie, the questions and the stuff that we do, the more commercial stuff, to sell better. And I'm quite pleased with the sales that we've had so far of the single, But we haven't got there's no money to actually pay to have. You have to spend thousands of pounds to get played on Radio 1 or Radio 6 or whatever, because no matter what the BBC say about playing, underground artists, they don't play them very much, whether that's electronic artists or pop. But no, both are equally as important to me. So I found this track. It was never recorded as a track, so 14 years ago, yeah. So Farfettia Transivox vocoder, I've called it a vocoder. So what it is, it's the accordion that I used to record the album. But then what I did was put a microphone into it, plugged that microphone into a synthesizer, and turned it into a weird drum. Like I say, this has never appeared on any album. I think this is probably the only recording of it. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything much else happens. I think that's just me.
I can see why that didn't make it to the album, because it is very different from all of the other music on the.
It didn't really work, but because it was an experiment, and the whole thing was about experimenting. And it's interesting the fact that by rubbing my hands down the side of the accordion, I got a different sound, and like hitting the buttons. Because all there is just basically it's a microphone. You can't see the little synth; it's just out of view. And it's running an arpeggiator, I think. So it's running a sequence of notes. So it almost felt like I'd made a new instrument. It certainly didn't work for the album, but it was quite interesting. It was an interesting experiment that I couldn't really see going anywhere else, if I'm honest. But I'd made the video. I don't think there's an actual track with it on anywhere. But there again, it's not the most exciting piece of music, if I'm honest. So that's it. That's my album. Go out and buy it, people. We need the money. Ask us anything. So, have you got a question for me? I have got a question for you. I mean, actually, it's worth mentioning. So, viewers or listeners, you can email us. You can email us with your questions. So, you need to email. I'll put it in the links down below, but you can email us at sinnersrecords@gmail.com. Ask us anything, and we'll try and answer it. So, have you got a question for me? 'Cause
I mean, yes, and I always keep my questions music themed.
that's fine. Mine's not about music. It's all right.
No. Okay, so my question to you is, in your opinion, what is the worst song that was ever made?
Well, apart from the whole catalogue of Coldplay, I expected better. I think I quite liked the first album of Coldplay, the one with Yellow on it. And I thought they were going to go more down the Radiohead route, and then they didn't. And I have met Chris Martin. I've seen him play cricket because he's from Exeter. Worst song ever? Wow. Oh, I need to think about that one. I can't just come up with it like that. What's the song that I actually? I mean,
well, if there's not a worst song, is there a type of music that you absolutely hate?
Thrash metal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I quite like some. I don't like metal at all, really, but I quite like some heavy rock. And there's a couple of bands that are sort. I mean, I never liked Metallica, and when I played with Wayne, the drummer in the Bloody Marys, he was a massive Metallica fan. And Enter the Sandman's an okay song. It's quite a good song. It doesn't really do it for me. I quite liked. I mean, I suppose the closest I would get to that would be Black Sabbath. I had Paranoid, the album in the 80s, as an 8-track cartridge in my car. That's going back. Do you all remember 8-track cartridges?
I don't know what an 8-track is. No.
So an 8-track basically it was like a large. Think of it like it's like a large cassette. You could get home ones, but I only ever had this one. It's one of the early cars I had it, so it would have been early 80s. You could buy. I don't think I bought them new, but I think I bought them second hand. So I had a pile of these cartridges. They were quite chunky. They were about that sort of size. They were quite big things. And you'd slide them in, and it would allow you to go to the next track or the previous track. So you could pick tracks, but it was on a loop, so it would get to the end and it just start again. And I remember having Black Sabbath's album and liking that quite a lot. Having said that, I've probably not listened to it since I had that 8-track cartridge. And I remember War Pigs being a particularly good song, but that's probably as close as I got to heavy metal.
Oh.
Really. But yeah, so the genre of music, thrash metal wouldn't do it for me. The only other type of music that I absolutely detest is probably noise music, where there's absolutely no melody and it's just white noise or brown noise or pink noise or some type of, and you see that at EMOMs occasionally. There'll be somebody turn up and they literally don't do anything apart from give you 15 minutes of really, really loud, distorted noise. So that does absolutely nothing for me. I don't hate it, but I don't, and it's quite, those people, they're quite within their rights to do that if that's what they want to do, providing they don't mind me walking out. And to be fair, I don't really walk out, but I put earplugs in. So what would yours be? What's your music that you absolutely hate? Just switching it back round. Do
you know what? I hate grime. I really, really hate it.
I mean, I've not really listened to it, to be fair. It's not. I mean, it's not for me. I can usually find there's probably one good song there that I would probably appreciate. Like I'm not hugely fond of rap music, but I quite like Salt and Pepper. I've got a Salt and Pepper's early album, which I really quite like. And there's other things like Gangster's Paradise is a good song, but rap isn't really for me. But grime, no, I've not really listened to any grime, so I have no expertise in that one. But
I think I just struggle to relate to it because obviously it you know it is very specific in what it is, and because I haven't lived that life, I can't relate to it at all. And I think that's the bit that I find really difficult. And a lot of it is, they sing slash rap about lots of really sort of deep issues, I guess. And when I listen to music, I want music to make me feel a certain way. And I suppose the issues that they talk about a lot in their type of music are things that I can't relate to and don't enjoy hearing. It's like listening to the news.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's because... I mean, it's probably not aimed at us anyway.
No. I mean, and this is it, I am not their target audience,
no.
And that's fine.
I mean, I do remember listening to Eminem for the first time, and it was the first time I'd listened to a record, and I think it was the Slim Shady album. So is that or is it the Marshall Mathers album? Anyway, one of them. It's the one with which I Dido on doing that one, and listening to the lyrics quite avidly at the time and thinking this is actually quite good.
I mean, I love Eminem.
Yeah.
But very much kind of my era growing up, So the fact that there's kind of recently been a bit more of a revival of that, my kids are listening to Eminem and they think it's cringe that, I know all of the words and they're like, please stop singing, Mum. But I'm like, but this is my era. This came out when I was your age. This is what we listened to. So, yeah, I think there's a nostalgia that's attached to Eminem that I really like.
Yeah, and I have still got that album on CD, but I don't play it very often. Very rare, actually. But then again, I don't play. I've got I don't know how many CDs. I've got hundreds and hundreds, and I do go back to certain things. But generally, I'm always looking for something new. And then every so often, I will go through and listen to everything, which will take me months, obviously. And I'll start at A and work my way through, including ABBA. And I quite like some ABBA, but some of it's a bit cheesy. But you can't knock ABBA in terms of songwriters. I think the songwriting is really good. My favourite ABBA album was the last one. Is it The Visitor?
Oh, okay.
The one after they'd all broken up and they'd all split up. So there are some really good songs on that album. So that's my favourite because they've moved away from the really poppy, Mamma Mia and Fernando and all that sort of stuff, which I have to say I don't really like. And I'm sure that's... We talked about possibly going to see the ABBA Voyager thing while it's... Jane's seen it. But I suspect it'll be all those songs and not the songs that I really like from ABBA. But I can usually find at least one good song in most genres of music. So my real question to you was, what's your favourite film of all time?
Of all time.
This is the one film. You're on a desert island and you've got a DVD player and one film, and this is the film.
Goodness. And do you know what? There are people out there who will have this is my film. Yeah. So I did a show with my group last year that was called Movie Moment, and everybody had to have their favourite film on the back of their T-shirt. I find it really difficult to choose a favourite film, but a film I've watched over and over again and always really enjoyed is an 80s classic, and it's Willow.
Willow? I don't think I've ever seen it.
You've never even seen it? Oh, it's...
What's Willow? What is... Hang on, is Willow... Oh, Willow.
It's got Warwick Davis in and Val Kilmer.
But and hasn't it got Joanna Wally in it? Or she became Joanna Wally Kilmer?
Yes.
I have seen it, yeah.
Yes.
I vaguely remember it. I can't remember it.
Oh.
that
I
much.
mean, it is a classic 80s fantasy. I think, was it George Lucas had something to do with it? I don't know whether he directed it or produced it.
That sounds probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no,
That,
I absolutely loved that film. That's like my guilty pleasure film.
I remember quite liking it, if I remember rightly.
It's a great film.
Yeah, I need to probably watch it again to remember what it was really like.
But it's one of those films that you can, I mean, it's probably, I've not watched it for a while. I watched it a few years ago when I got Disney Plus, and I'm like, Willow's on Disney Plus, and watched it. But it is probably very much of its time, and I don't know how politically correct it will be nowadays.
Yeah,
But
I know what you mean.
it is one of the, I suppose it's up there with like the likes of Labyrinth and
I've only ever seen Labyrinth
Never-Ending
once.
Story and
Yeah.
all those films that came out at that time.
I've seen them, but I can't really remember much about them. Apart from I know the Labyrinth's got David Bowie in it. I mean, when I was probably in the, I don't know when did American Werewolf in London come out? I had that on video cassette, and I think I watched it 13 times.
Oh wow!
Over several periods, and some people, I'd have friends round at some point, we'd watch it. I think if I was going to pick a film, it would have to be a musical because I'd want to sing along to it. So there'd be a choice of two. Actually, Greatest Showman might make it because the songs are great. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've performed songs from it.
It's great. I love it. It's great. In fact, I went to Pocklington Arts Centre, did the sing along version. So I sat in the front row with Jane and sang, and it's actually quite difficult to sing because obviously the keys aren't quite, but the songs are really poppy. The songs are really good. The woman at the side of me just tutted all the way through it, and
at you,
and the fact that everybody was singing, and I actually turned around to her at one point and said, "You do know this is a sing along?" She went, "Well, I just came to see the film." I think, okay. So anyway, tough. So yeah, that might be there, but actually, the other one would probably be Little Shop of Horrors, the musical.
Yeah.
Because the songs in that are great as well.
I mean, we're talking about a long time ago, but we performed Little Shop of Horrors at school as a play.
As a play or as a musical?
As a musical.
It was originally a play. Have you seen the original film? It's got Jack Nicholson in it as the original film. It's just a play. And then we did it. Then the musical came out with Rick Moranis and is it Helen White? The woman who
that is the one that we did.
That's brilliant, and it's got Levi Stubbs doing the voice of the plant.
Yeah, of the plant.
Which is just wonderful, absolutely brilliant.
But I think having done it at school, that made me hate it.
Oh really? Oh, I did Joseph at school. I was in the school choir and did Joseph.
Oh, we performed that 3 years ago in my drama group.
I have to say I haven't listened to that since.
Hated that too.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Got sick to death of that.
It was. I remember at the time, learning all the songs by listening to the tracks on Spotify, and then, I know we don't talk about Spotify, but each year Spotify shows like the songs that you've listened to the most, and half of the songs were from Joseph, and I was like, no.
That's because like I say, I know your message to me about the fact that my music was still on Spotify, and I explained to you why it was still up there, and that in future it won't be on there. I mean, I'm not taking them down because I have to give them money to do that. So those albums but the last two albums haven't been up there. And in fact, that was the conversation me and Ramsey were having yesterday was, does he want me to put his stuff on Spotify? Because from an artist's point of view, if they want me to, I will. But he's not bothered, so we probably won't. But because Spotify do this thing where they tell you what your age is in terms of what you listened to the last year. So my youngest son has a musical age of 78, apparently, which has been great fun. For me, I mean, I haven't got a musical age because I don't do Spotify. I have a Spotify account, but it's not paid for.
Where does it tell you about your musical
I
age?
think well, it was the only do it at the back end of the year, so I think it was Christmas.
Okay.
It came out. I don't quite know because Josh sent us a message saying I have an age of 78, and there's some of the stuff that he listens to, and I'm going, this is old man's music, but each to their own, really.
See, mine is skewed because I use a lot of tracks for
Yeah.
Spotify to learn songs that I'm
Yeah.
performing. So I'm learning some of the songs from Hamilton at the moment, and so that's
I've not
all
seen
I've been
Hamilton.
listening to.
I
I've really
should
enjoyed
watch
it.
it. I should watch it while I've got Disney Plus,
Yeah,
because I'll be getting
yeah,
rid of that soon. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's actually really good fun to perform.
is it?
Um,
I've
just
I've
because
heard
there
the
are lots of
album. I've
layers
heard the
to it.
album. I listened to the album a while ago, probably a couple of years ago. But I have listened to the album. But it'd be nice to
Yeah.
see it in context, really.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I listened to the songs before seeing it, and it was really nice to, when I watched it, already know what the songs were and be able to actually understand the story and the journey that the songs take you on, because performing them in isolation, I didn't really get a good grasp of who the characters were or what they were
Yeah,
doing. And yeah.
Yeah. So I will watch that. Recommendations.
Oh, what did I? So I was watching. I binge watched a series on BBC last week called Small Profits.
I think I
Have you
recommended it
watched
last
it?
month. Didn't I recommend? Not last month. It was last fortnight. I think I recommended it. Either that one or
Did
the one
you?
before. Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. But
Oh,
I mean, Mackenzie Crook, who's written it and obviously directs it, he did The Detectorists before a few years ago.
okay,
You
yeah.
need to, if you haven't seen that, it's in the same. It's a
I
different
I have
story.
watched it. Wasn't a fan,
Ah, right.
but
It's
yeah.
brilliant. It's absolutely. There's
I
going to
watched
obviously
Small
be a second
Profits.
series because
Oh,
obviously.
I hope so.
Well,
It was it
I'm
was
not giving
weird,
anything away,
but
but at the end it says to be continued. So there's going
yeah.
to be a second
Well,
series. It's
yeah.
got to be, and
It
they'll fund it because it's massive. It's become a massive hit for them.
it was
Yeah,
brilliant.
it was great. Yeah, we binge watched it as well. Anything else? Anything else? Any other recommendations?
But again, I haven't watched anything. I haven't done. Honestly, I've clearly been living under a rock
That's
since
all
we
right.
last met.
You're allowed.
I haven't been anywhere or done anything or seen anything. I've barely had time to catch up on EastEnders.
You watch EastEnders?
I love EastEnders
Okay. Well,
and Hollyoaks.
okay.
I don't watch Corrie or Emmerdale.
I have watched Corrie a long time ago.
Oh yeah, same.
I went round the studios with my mother. So
Oh,
this is years ago. And she had a day trip. So she said, "Do you want to come along?" Somebody's pulled out. So I went on this bus trip to Manchester to the studios. And actually it was a really good day out because it wasn't just the Corrie set. It was Baker Street, so for Sherlock Holmes and things like that. And it was a really good day out at Granada, the old Granada
yeah.
Studios. I don't think it's like that anymore. I think it's but it was good fun. And I for a few months afterwards, I watched it, and you do sort of get into those sort of things.
I watched it for years, but I think I stopped maybe about 10 years ago, just because I didn't have time to catch up on all of the soaps, and that one just got axed. I mean, I've just kept on to EastEnders and Hollyoaks.
I'm not going to criticise you for watching EastEnders. Each to their own. My recommendations, I've got two. One is on Disney Plus. There's a program or a series called Paradise, which is, I don't want to say too much about it but it's sort of a bit sci-fi, and it's brilliant. Actually, I stumbled across it because they've just launched a second series. So Jane and I have gone back, and obviously every night we'll watch an episode, and we're on episode 3 of series 2 now. There's 8 episodes in each series, so it's American. It's quite big budget. It's quite sci-fi, It's really, really good. And the other one is the Paul McCartney documentary on Netflix, which I watched last week, which I thought was really, really good because obviously it's a bit about the Beatles, but it's about when the Beatles had split up, really, and he started Wings. I mean, I remember Wings came and played York Uni, literally turned up in their van. I wasn't there, but I do remember people talking about it when I worked at York Uni, about the fact that Paul McCartney literally turned up and the Students' Union went, yeah, he can come play. You know, and he did that. That was his first tour, really. You know, but it's interesting, really. Even when they fell out, when him and John fell out, and you know, I think at one point John had said to him, he says, "Yeah, but he's my brother, and he's been my brother since I was 14 years old. So we fall out, but we still love each other," which was quite sweet, really. But so it's definitely worth a watch, really. And I've just started watching. Again, I think it's on Disney, the Beatles anthology series. But I'm only like halfway through the first episode. So I'd watched To Get Back when that first came out, which was quite interesting. And I thought it was the same thing, but it's not. It's more about the history of, you know, how the band got together and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's not necessarily a recommendation, but that's just, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. You know. So, are we done?
I think we might be.
How do we do on time? Is that less than an hour or more than an hour?
It's an hour and a half.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the timer anymore now that I've paid for the damn thing. So, we'll be back in a fortnight with more fun. So, so listeners and viewers, let us know if you've got any questions for us, because we're open to being grilled.
I can't promise I'll answer them all.
Sorry? You promised to answer?
I don't promise to answer.
Well, rude ones we might avoid. But anyway, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.